I believe that when you're working with some talented person that you've come to, respect, you respected them enough to hire them, it invests those talented people in the project.
Ron Howard, one of Hollywood's most respected directors, has worked with some of the biggest names in film.
Known for his classics like A Beautiful Mind, The Da Vinci Code, Apollo 13, Academy Award-winning director Ron Howard.
We are joined by the legendary Oscar-winning producer and director and actor Ron Howard.
But who are the actors that truly left a mark on him? Today, we uncover the 7 stars who shaped Howard's approach to filmmaking in ways you won't expect. From a fearsome method actor to a beloved leading man, each of these actors brought something unique to the table. But there's one surprising choice that might just change how you see Howard's work. Keep watching to find out. 7. Michael Keaton. When Ron Howard first collaborated with Michael Keaton on Night Shift, it was immediately clear that Keaton brought something completely different to the table. Unlike many actors who strictly followed the script, Keaton treated the lines as a guideline and brought a level of improvisation that kept everyone on their toes. His ability to find 17 different ways to make a simple scene interesting was something Howard had never encountered before. Keaton had an almost chaotic energy on set, but it was that very unpredictability that gave his performances such depth and authenticity. Keaton's improvisational style wasn't just about making the audience laugh, it also demonstrated a deep understanding of the emotional core of the story. He could take a scene that seemed straightforward and turn it into something memorable by adding a little humor, a twist, or a subtle emotional beat. Howard quickly recognized that Keaton was operating on a different frequency compared to most actors. His unorthodox approach to acting showed that sometimes the best way to discover something new is to abandon the script and see where the scene takes you. The primary thing that Howard noticed about Keaton matched his understanding of the actor's full abilities. Keaton made a comedic name for himself, yet his performance showed Howard unexpected theatrical skills. The movie Night Shift showed Keaton's talent to create both comedic and emotional moments, which revealed his deeper abilities than his comedic image. The film required this duality for its success, while it taught Howard about the value of selecting actors who differ from their usual roles. An actor's authentic ability can remain hidden until a director possesses the ability to identify it beyond outward appearances, according to Keaton's performance. Keaton taught Howard about the importance of releasing control so that actors could experiment with their performances. The film industry requires some scenes to be planned with precise detail, but the best scenes emerge when actors rely on their instincts. Howard discovered that plan changes do not create problems because Keaton used his off-script abilities to discover new scene options. Authentic and powerful cinematic moments emerge from unscripted content. Howard learned through Keaton's bold acting style that most authentic and powerful performances occur when actors accept unexpected situations. Keep your focus here, because what's coming next is going to shift everything you thought you knew. 6. Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins is often regarded as one of the finest actors of his generation, and his work with Ron Howard proved why. Howard observed Hopkins from afar for years, studying his performances in detail, and was struck by the effortless control Hopkins displayed in every role. Whether playing the chilling Hannibal Lecter or a complex historical figure, Hopkins' acting never felt forced or theatrical. He communicated entire emotional landscapes with just the slightest movements of his eyes or a small shift in his posture. For Howard, Hopkins' ability to captivate the audience with such minimal effort was a lesson in mastery. What set Hopkins apart from many actors was his commitment to preparation. He would memorize his lines hundreds of times until they felt as natural as thinking.
Give more density to every scene and transport the audience all the more.
By the time he stepped on set, the lines were no longer just dialogue to be recited. They became part of his thought process. This level of dedication allowed him to perform with such spontaneity and precision that every scene felt fresh, even if it was filmed multiple times. For Howard, watching Hopkins work reinforced the importance of preparation in creating a performance that feels organic and real, even when it's deeply rehearsed. The acting method of Hopkins taught Howard that exceptional acting requires an actor to show their skills through performance. The majority of actors want to make sure that their audience experiences every feeling that they show on stage. Hopkins created an emotional experience for his audience, but never tried to control their feelings. His controlled performance method allowed him to create emotional depth, which reached its peak when he reached his most intense moment. Howard discovered that top-level acting should produce audience experiences that exist outside visible emotional expressions. Hopkins showed his ability to create complex emotional states through his performance, which demonstrated that fewer theatrical elements can achieve better results. Howard learned from Hopkins that actors must let their performances develop through natural processes, which require minimal directorial control. The majority of actors need to receive guidance during each scene, but Hopkins needed only to hear action before he started performing. Howard used his complete understanding of his craft to show how he wanted to present the scene without directing all its details. For Howard, Hopkins' performances showed that exceptional acting excellence emerges when an actor creates authentic scenes that surpass ordinary theatrical performance. 5. Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe was initially intimidating to many, including director Ron Howard, because of his reputation for being difficult on set. However, when the two collaborated on A Beautiful Mind, Howard quickly discovered that Crowe's intensity wasn't about ego. It was about the actor's commitment to bringing authenticity to his role. Crowe's preparation for the role of John Nash was nothing short of remarkable. He spent months researching schizophrenia, meeting with experts, visiting hospitals, and deeply immersing himself in the character. This level of dedication gave him an understanding of Nash that went beyond surface-level acting. What stood out most to Howard was how Crowe managed to play a character losing his grip on reality in a way that felt raw and genuine. Rather than making the performance overly dramatic or theatrical, Crowe made it personal. He wasn't afraid to show the confusion, fear, and vulnerability of someone losing their mind. Crowe's ability to bring this complex character to life on screen was not just impressive, it was emotionally moving, capturing a depth that made the audience feel as if they were right there alongside John Nash. Crowe's performance taught Howard a valuable lesson. Difficult actors are not always difficult to work with. In fact, they can be the most protective of their craft, fiercely dedicated to portraying the truth of the character. During the filming, when Crowe pushed back on certain scenes or choices, Howard realized it wasn't out of arrogance, but out of a deep instinct for what was right for the character. Crowe's willingness to challenge and question the direction ultimately made the film better. It was through these moments of tension that the most powerful scenes emerged. Their collaboration on A Beautiful Mind was not just a professional success, it also led to Crowe winning an Academy Award. The partnership highlighted how valuable it can be for a director to listen to actors who deeply understand their characters. Crowe's approach to acting and his willingness to take risks with his performance demonstrated that sometimes the best actors don't make your job easier, they make your film extraordinary. This collaboration left a lasting impact on Howard's approach to directing and filmmaking as a whole. Think you've seen dedication? Just wait. The next performance is built on a foundation of thorough preparation and authentic emotional exploration. 4. E.D. Harris. Ed Harris approached acting with a methodical precision that left a lasting impact on Ron Howard. When Harris joined the cast of Apollo 13, playing Gene Kranz,
what do you remember about making the film?
Well, so many things. Meeting astronauts, including, of course, Jim Lovell, is doing the zero-G shot.
The character's role was more than just memorizing lines. Harris immersed himself in the technical aspects of space travel, learning about flight dynamics, speaking to NASA personnel, and understanding every minute detail about his character. His deep dive into the real-life people he portrayed showed Howard that true preparation goes beyond memorizing dialogue. It's about fully understanding the world your character inhabits. Harris's attention to detail didn't stop at the script. If the character he portrayed wore a specific vest or had a particular posture in real life, Harris would ensure those elements were accurately reflected in his performance. This commitment to authenticity didn't just serve the character, it created a sense of confidence and trust on set. Harris's approach was grounded in the belief that the more you know, the more freedom you have to act. By understanding every detail, he could focus on his performance rather than worrying about the accuracy of his portrayal. Howard developed his main attraction toward Harris because the actor demonstrated constant reliability throughout their time together. Harris maintained his readiness for any role because he prepared himself completely before every performance. Harris arrived at the filming location each morning with complete readiness to take on any scene challenges. Howard found complete trust in Harris because he maintained constant dedication to his work, which enabled him to produce strong performance without any need for direct supervision. Harris's reliability established the standard for professional behavior, which Howard expected from actors in the film industry. Harris demonstrated to Howard that preparation leads to creative freedom by establishing a tranquil environment to work in. Harris needed to learn about his character's driving forces and the surrounding environment because this knowledge would help him decrease his need to study acting techniques. The actor used this ability to analyze his character's emotional state while taking creative risks during his performance. Harris demonstrated to Howard that actors should use detailed preparation to create emotional performances, which require them to maintain control over their artistic choices throughout their work. 3. Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington commands attention effortlessly, a trait that sets him apart from many other actors. His presence on screen is magnetic, drawing viewers in with a quiet confidence that doesn't demand attention, but naturally earns it. Director Ron Howard quickly recognized this rare quality in Washington, noticing how he could take control of a scene without raising his voice or dominating the space. While many actors try to stand out with exaggerated movements or loud performances, Washington's strength lies in his calm authority. When he enters a scene, there's an undeniable shift. The audience immediately knows he is the focal point. It's not because he forces the attention, but because he commands it through the choices he makes with subtlety and precision. This unspoken power is matched by Washington's impressive emotional range. Whether portraying a fierce, determined leader in Glory or a more vulnerable, complex character in Malcolm X, Washington effortlessly balances intensity with tenderness. Howard observed how Washington could seamlessly switch between fierce anger and quiet introspection without ever feeling forced. It's in these transitions that Washington's depth as an actor shines. His ability to move between these emotional extremes makes his performances feel grounded in reality. Whether he's showing raw power or vulnerability, his characters feel fully realized, making them incredibly relatable and real. This balance between strength and vulnerability is one of the key elements that makes Washington's performances so captivating. Washington uses his acting technique to make each moment of his performance valuable. Washington demonstrates his acting talent through his deliberate performance style, which distinguishes him from other performers who need to show their value. Howard observed that Washington portrays his character through his natural presence without expending unnecessary strength. The entire performance, including every movement and every statement, maintains a consistent, authentic quality that exists even during silent sections of the show. Washington establishes emotional connections with his audience through his authentic performances because he does not attempt to impose feelings on them. His deliberate method enables viewers to form strong emotional bonds with his character, which results in his performances remaining memorable after the show ends. Howard discovered that effective acting requires performers to maintain invisible emotional control, while Washington has mastered this skill. Washington possesses an extraordinary ability to express deep meaning through his nonverbal communication. Howard observed that Washington showed complete body language and gaze expressions when he remained silent. He uses every movement to create a significant impact, while his silent moments enable him to express the same things he would say through spoken words. He uses silence to create purposeful statements that contain deep meaning through his deliberate use of silence. Washington uses this ability to convey intense emotions, which result in his performances becoming permanent memories. Howard sees Washington as an actor who achieves his performance goals through subtlety instead of loud and exaggerated acting. Washington performs in a way that creates lasting impact through his work, and this quality makes him one of Hollywood's most attractive actors today. 2. Tom Hanks. The partnership between Tom Hanks and Ron Howard began when they worked on the 1984 movie Splash, which introduced Hanks to audiences who knew him mainly as a comedian. Howard recognized that Hanks possessed a special talent that enabled him to transform unbelievable situations into authentic performances. Hanks had a special gift for taking the impossible, like playing a man in love with a mermaid, and making it relatable to audiences. His on-screen presence, combined with his genuine personality, enabled him to create authentic human connections through his performance of extraordinary events. Through their partnership, Howard discovered that Hanks possessed a special talent that enabled him to control the entire scene. Hanks created an atmosphere of peace, which provided his scenes with back-to-back watchable content. Hanks used calm performances to build tension throughout high-stakes scenes in Apollo 13 because his subtle movements created authentic suspense. Hanks portrayed a man facing impossible work conditions, which created more intense danger for the audience throughout the film. Hanks and Howard created an efficient working relationship through their development of special communication methods, which they used during their 5-movie collaborations. Their partnership didn't rely on endless discussions or explanations. A simple nod or glance from Howard was often all that was needed for Hanks to adjust his performance. The unspoken understanding between them allowed the two to solve complex filmmaking problems, while they trusted that Hanks would deliver his performance without needing extra guidance. Their successful collaborations became defined through their efficient working methods, which became their signature style. Hanks became Howard's most important actor for his ability to act reliably with trustworthiness. Howard discovered that an effective leading man should not attract attention to himself, but instead needs to enhance the complete cinematic production. Hanks showed up to work fully prepared, which allowed Howard to take creative risks because he knew Hanks would perform his duties as expected. You won't believe how the next actor's commitment to realism takes acting to new heights. Get ready to be amazed. 1. Daniel Bruhl. Daniel Bruhl's transformation into the character of Niki Lauda in Rush was nothing short of remarkable. When Howard cast Bruhl, he expected a talented actor, but Bruhl took his preparation to a level that exceeded all expectations. He didn't just study Lauda's mannerisms or accent, he immersed himself in the psychology of the man. Bruhl spent months watching race footage, speaking with those who knew Lauda, and understanding the mind of a Formula One driver. By the time filming began, he had so thoroughly absorbed Lauda's essence that the line between actor and character began to blur for everyone on set, including Howard himself. What impressed Howard the most about Bruhl's portrayal was his fearlessness in embracing the less likable qualities of Lauda. The real-life Lauda was known for his blunt honesty and competitive nature, traits that could be perceived as cold or even cruel. Bruhl didn't shy away from these traits. Instead, he leaned into them, trusting that truth would always be more compelling than making the character more likable. He didn't attempt to soften Lauda's edges for the sake of audience sympathy. Instead, he portrayed the character with an authenticity that made Lauda's harshness understandable, even if not entirely lovable. Bruhl's dedication to precise performance, together with his skill to fully embody characters from diverse acting styles, taught Howard essential knowledge. European actors typically demonstrate their acting skills through a performance style that Bruhl employed throughout his work. Bruhl dedicated himself to performing his character in an authentic manner, which matched his actual person. He wasn't concerned with whether the audience would connect with Lauda on a personal level. The character's appearance needed to match actual life, even if that created an unlikable character depiction. The performance showed a new acting style to Howard because the actor dedicated himself to creating authentic character representation instead of aiming for audience attraction. His commitment to the craft, even when it meant portraying an unlikable character, revealed the power of sincerity in performance. Bruhl's intense focus also highlighted how preparation could extend beyond the script and into emotional commitment. The actor's ability to stay true to Lauder's uncompromising nature allowed him to reveal deeper layers of the character that many others might have overlooked. This experience made Howard realize that great acting often involves stepping into uncomfortable territory, going beyond what's expected and making bold choices. The performance of Bruhl taught Howard that unknown actors sometimes deliver their strongest performances. The film Rush established Bruhl as an actor who could deliver powerful performances even though he was not yet a well-known actor. The actor dedicated himself to his role as an imperfect character, which displayed his acting abilities and made him the film's most exceptional performer. Howard discovered that actors who can fully immerse themselves in their roles create the most powerful performances, which allows audiences to experience unexpected moments from less recognized performers. Ron Howard's list of favorite actors reveals the unexpected qualities that make a performance truly unforgettable. These 7 stars didn't just act, they influenced the way Howard directs, shaping his vision in ways that go beyond the screen. If you enjoyed this insight into Howard's top picks, be sure to like, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more. Don't forget to check out the next video shown on the screen for more behind-the-scenes stories from Hollywood's finest.